Welcome back, everyone. We're talking here already, having fun in the station. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show afterwards. My next guest is Garvey Biggers. He's from the Garvey Biggers law firm, and he's been on my show several times. And you're here to kind of educate people out there a little bit about what you do. But I found out something about Garvey that I had no idea. I should say Mr. Biggers, because he's also known as the Tomato Man. The tomato guy. I never knew about that. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, it's really a stress reliever. It's a hobby I started years and years ago, and it takes the edge off after a long day at the office.
In the court.
Yeah, you work in the courtroom, you work in the office doing personal injury claims against
you got to have something
companies.
To throw at the judge.
And well, it's not the judge; it's the insurance companies. I try to.
The insurance companies.
Yeah, I try to hit them with a good tomato every once in a while.
Exactly.
But no, so we grow tomatoes, and it started off small, and it's kind of grown into a bigger thing, and now we're selling to restaurants and the farmers markets, and then of course handing them out to my neighbors and my friends.
And me, I gotta have some.
And
oh
you
my
eventually, yeah, if you treat me nice on this radio show.
Okay, I'll be really nice to you now. So Garvey, though, tell us if you want to just say one thing about them. What makes them so different? Get comfortable there.
The taste. So we grow them organically, and I made a switch about 15 years ago, 12 years ago maybe. Got away from the Miracle Grows and all of that stuff, and just went organic. And I use various plants and
just out of curiosity, do you have a website for that? Or anything?
I did have a website, but then I don't now.
Okay, that's okay. But Garvey, it's enjoyable for you. You enjoy it's the time. But where do you do it? Do you plant them on a special place or in your home?
It's all in my backyard.
How neat is that?
I have a big lot in the backyard dedicated to tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
And people laugh about it. And people crack me up. But not. So I bring them in. So I'm on the Salt River Project Council. I'm active in community affairs and this sort of thing. And I represent District 4 of the SRP on the water and on the power side, and a lot of people on the council are farmers, or third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation farmers, growing all kinds of stuff as their ancestors did, and so I had to fit in because I'm the only attorney on the council. So I brought my tomatoes in, and they suddenly just loved me and started listening.
Oh, how neat! I just love that story. And only on Networking Arizona can you learn something like this. Garvey, you have been here you're a native.
So I've been here
and I didn't know they can grow tomatoes here in Arizona. I didn't know the soil allowed it, by the way, just to say.
So I'm in the ground Super Bowl Sunday every year, and then now is a great time to plant your tomatoes, actually. And so we plant them beginning now, and then we harvest them in December and January, and then we turn around and then we plant them again in February, and then grow them and harvest them in May.
If somebody wanted to buy one of your tomatoes, would they know where to go, or does it say?
I would just give them away.
Okay.
They come to my law
office. Does it say Garvey Biggers Law Firm Tomatoes?
They would just say the tomato guy.
The tomato guy. That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about you, because you've been here forever, and talk about your firm and what you do.
Right, 34 years in the law practice, doing all kinds of personal injury claims. I represented insurance companies. I've represented the people that the plaintiffs sue after accusing them of negligence, and then so for years and years I did the insurance side of it, and then about 6 years ago decided to go exclusively plaintiffs, where I make the claim on behalf of the individual against the big corporations, against the big insurance companies that I used to represent. No longer do. And so I'm familiar with both sides of the fence, and there are legitimate claims and there's not so good claims.
Right.
And so people come into my office and they want to have a consultation, and I give them a consultation free and decide from there if it's a genuine claim, and then proceed from there.
What makes you different compared to there's the big box, and when I call them a big box, but there's the ones that are on television all the time.
Right.
What makes someone like you different?
So I'm a word of mouth guy. I just get all my business by word of mouth, and the thing that you usually get from me is personal attention from me. I supervise all claims that are in my office. Nobody makes a decision without my involvement. I bring to the table a guarantee that I will give an evaluation of your claim. I'll tell you what factors into the claims and what makes a claim worth something and what makes a claim not worth something, and we go through it case by case with each individual, and they get that personalized attention that they don't get from the big advertising firms that are really mills. And so I'm like a guy out here with one line. I'm in a canoe and I got one line, and I'm up against those big fishing boats with the great big nets, and every once in a while a tuna will jump in my boat.
Well, let me tell you something about the difference. I think first of all, they get you, and it's your personal attention. When you go with these other people, you're really not getting that personal attention. That they can say it all day long, but you're not going to be talking to the attorney. You're not.
No, and I said this before on your show, and I'll say it again, and I keep saying it, is that I'm a big believer in the Seventh Amendment. Actually, I believe that every person has a right to a trial by a jury of their peers, and a lot of people have forgotten about the Seventh Amendment, and that's the Seventh Amendment to the United States Constitution that our founding fathers said, hey, in all civil matters, you're entitled to a jury trial of your peers. So I always ask people, are you willing to go all the way to trial? Some people don't. In this day and age, they want to just, oh, no, I don't want to go to the courtroom. I'm saying, hey, let's at least be willing to have an open mind to possibly do that. And you never know which case is going to qualify. Sometimes, the offer's too good from the insurance company by the time you prepare your case. So hopefully we're well enough prepared that the insurance company knows it. They know we're honest, and they know that we're realistic about going to trial, and they'll pay us the maximum amount. So that's the difference between me and a lot of these mills, is that I will squeeze the last drop of tomato juice out of that case.
Perfect. Now, you can check him out on his website. He's 5-star rated everywhere, plus A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. He does free consultations. His website is GarveyBiggersLawFirm.com. His phone number direct, it's 602-241-8550. I want to talk about this now because it's important that people understand that you work on a contingency basis, and people need to understand that. I don't think people always think, because they think attorney, I can't afford it. But listen, hear how he works.
Well, that's right. I mean, there's two ways to basically hire an attorney: hourly or contingency. And most, corporate matters, most like divorces, these areas of the law, collecting on debts or getting yourself out of debt or bankruptcy or whatever these areas are, they're all by hourly. On a personal injury side, you do it on a contingency. That means if I don't collect, you pay nothing. If I don't win, you owe me nothing. So it's contingent upon winning the payment of the fee. And my fee is a standard fee. My fee agreement has been approved by the State Bar of Arizona. They've gone once over, twice over, made their recommendations for certain clauses and paragraphs and periods and commas in it. And so my agreement that I hand to people to look at is very simple, but it says in great big bold, if we don't collect on your case, you owe me nothing.
Now, you could check him out again on his website. It's GarveyBiggersLawFirm.com. That number, 602-241-8550. It starts with that consultation. You've got to have that. You got to find out, is this a case? Is it not? And you really need to find that out. And we have somebody like Garvey check it out for you. Garvey, when we're going to go to a break, but when we come back, I want to talk further, because one of the things that you want to talk about is insurance increases. This is really important. I don't want to necessarily talk about it right now, but quickly, if you could tell them just a little bit, tiny bit, what's it about?
Well, the governor just signed a new bill into law about 2 or 3 months ago at the end of the beginning of the summer to go into effect next year that will cause people's to have a higher minimum limit of insurance.
Well, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk further about that because it's really important, guys. You guys got to know about this, and here you can hear it on Networking Arizona. Check him out on his website. It's Garvey Biggers, lawfirm.com. He's A+ rated and 5-star everywhere, and especially with the Better Business Bureau. Free consultation, 602-241-8550. Hold tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Garvey Biggers from the Garvey Biggers Law Firm, and we were talking at the break a little bit about this new increase in it with the insurance companies. You got to talk a little bit about what that meant.
Well, I'm not exactly sure whose idea it was, but I think it was an idea that's probably long overdue. But the minimum limits are currently and have been for decades now, 15,000 and 30. 15,000 for an individual and 30,000 maximum. So in order to drive a vehicle, you have to have a policy of insurance that says, hey, if I hurt you, I have a policy that will pay up to $15,000 for any one person and 30,000 total in an accident. So that's called 1530. Those are what we know as the minimum limits. But most people know that. If you don't, and you don't have 1530 right now, and you're driving around and you get pulled over, you're going to get a ticket. Now it's going to go up to 2550. So in the next summer, 9 months from now, I believe, it's going to go to 2550 minimum limits, which means that the average the average wage earner out there is going to have to pay a higher premium. They're going to have more coverage. If you get in an accident or the victim of an accident, you'd like to think that the other side has $25.50. It's a heck of a thing to learn when you have $10,000 in medical bills.
It's a law. It's going to be a law that everybody's got to do it.
It is a law.
It's a law now.
And the governor gave everybody, the insurance companies, and all of us, some time to adjust to the fact that it's going to $25.50.
So basically, it's for them.
It is so if you're the victim of an accident and you find out right now, for instance, if you had $10,000 in medical bills and there was only $15,000 in coverage, you'd be a little disappointed because I'd be telling you, well, we got to pay the doctors, we got to pay the hospitals, and we have to pay these medical bills out of this. And then there's a little attorney's fees and costs, because there's always a little something in there for the attorney. But then there's how much for you. So, when you come to my firm, I never take more than you. So I always guarantee you that, hey, even if my fee agreement says I'm entitled to a third, I'll cut it to make it even and make it right for you. But that's what we're under on a 15,000 minimum limit. So now we're going up to 2550. The state is changing that law. I can't say most states, but a lot of states have changed the law up to 2550.
And so they need to know that. I would assume that the insurance companies that they're working with would want to tell them that. Am I correct?
Well,
or do they not?
Everybody will be getting a notice.
You're going to know.
And everybody's going to be getting a premium increase, no doubt, for that increased coverage. So I can't tell if the insurance industry is behind it because, a lot of cases, actually probably about 30 to 40% of all cases are probably worth only $15,000 because you have all the safety equipment on these vehicles now. The injuries aren't as severe as what they used to be, and so many cases are worth just at that $15,000 to $20,000 limit. Now, with the 2550 limits going up, these insurance companies are going to have more wriggle room to fight, and maybe we'll be getting some more of those jury trials that I was talking about earlier.
Interesting. Well, let's talk about a trial because, something, a little story, because we are going to lose time here. Okay. I want to talk about, You said it. It's pretty cool. I mean, there's cases. Everybody knows about dog bites and about, slip and falls and, certain things that happen. But there's certain things that they don't realize about, and one of them are guns. And let's talk a little bit about your story with that.
Yeah, I do auto, and I do dog bites, and I do slip and falls. I do all those cases. I've had an influx in the last couple years of gun cases, shooting cases, at all different kinds of odd locations. I've had one down on South Mountain where I had to bring a claim against the city of Phoenix, also against the Phoenix Rod and Gun Club down there, where they shoot on it. There's actually a gun range down on the north side of South Mountain that allows shooters to shoot directly into South Mountain and South Mountain Park. Now, there's barriers and there's berms and there's all these things that go into a gun range, but from time to time there's a stray bullet. If you go into just a regular indoor shooting range,
it's not a golf ball, guys.
And you look at if you go into a shooting range and you look indoors, for instance, if we were in an indoor shooting range right now, you would look at the ceiling and you would see all kinds of little bullet holes in the ceiling of that indoor shooting range. It's not because people intended to fire their gun there. It's because there was misfires, that the gun got out of control. It went up in the air. Now, this is an outdoor shooting range, and unless they've made some modifications, and I haven't been down there lately, but when I settled the case a couple years back, they still hadn't made the modifications, and bullets were still going into South Mountain Park. So I had a client that was on a trail, and he got shot.
Why?
While hiking on a trail in South Mountain Park, and he went down, I said, just like a bighorn sheep, and just crawled to safety. But we did that claim. I did a shooting case in one of these budget hotels where every seedy element of our society from time to time dwells, and you don't know what you're getting sometimes in some of these budget hotels. And so I held them accountable for their lack of security because a shooting occurred there, and I got the hotel to resolve that case. And then then of course they have parties and everybody has a gun, and we're all big believers, and you're listening to one right now. I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, and everybody has a right to a gun. But just like we have a license to drive a car, we have a duty to handle our guns safely and teach our kids gun safety. And leaving guns in the hands of children and leaving the guns in the hands of young adults who are going to drink and do drugs and smoke their weed, pull their gun out, and misfire it at a party can be a dangerous thing. And if you know somebody that has been a victim of that, that's what I do. I bring those homeowner claims against the owners of the guns.
Right. Now, you do everything, any kind of, but there are cases that are incredible that just come up that I mean, you need to have somebody. You've been doing this for how many? 33 years.
34. But
34 now?
But you can say 33.
34 now. I have to change it. 34 years now.
Vacations.
But, I mean, there are so many things that come up that are amazing, and especially something like that. And today, oh, my God, there's so many people that do get a little bit crazy. They get crazy. I was just on the freeway the other day, and somebody got a little crazy behind me, not right behind me, but a little bit, and drove a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. And I guess he just lost control. And he was being a little bit of a jerk, really. He was just upset.
Right.
His all was a little bit of rage, and he went into the dirt on the side. He was in a big truck, and he spun out, and when he spun out, he went into the freeway.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And luckily he didn't hit me, because I would have missed the show that day. But, I mean, there's people that do things that are just nuts, like things like that.
I mean, 10 minutes before I came on the show, I got a call, and a fella's going down Camelback Road just with his 12-year-old son on his way home to Arcadia, where he's lived for a long, long time, and he's coming through 40th Street there in the intersection at Camelback and 40th Street in the middle lane going east, and somebody turns left right in front of him. And, he said, I had nowhere to go. I just went bam, and, So these things happen. They happen every day. You have to be on alert. You have to wear your seatbelts. You have to, be safe as you drive. But, the distracted driving is really, in Arizona, been the thing that the legislature has been unwilling to change, especially with cell phones and whatnot. Now there's a law that's going to go into effect on distracted driving and cell phone usage, right? So we're going to all be a lot safer after that, I hope.
Well, let's all be. But, the main thing is that, bad things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen. And we have a right, and that's what you started off with saying, is that there's a constitutional right to make sure that your case is heard. And Garvey's been doing this for 34 years, and he does. And what I love about what you just said, too, you said this earlier, was that you're very fair. You go equal. You take what they take.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was very nice of you.
I know a lot of these firms. I've heard these attorneys say, it kind of gets into gouging, and if they hadn't hired me, they would have never got that. I'm like, yeah, you would have. So, when it's a minimum policy and the medical bills are a certain amount, you're going to get that. So attorneys need to be fair with their clients. I've made a living, a healthy living, a good living out of being fair. And that's why people return.
I love that. And you work on a contingency basis, but you make sure that you do equal, which was really nice. That was what makes you a 5-star rated everywhere, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. He does free consultations. If you or someone that need him, give him a call. That phone number is 602-241-8550. You can check him out on his website. It's GarveyBiggersLawFirm.com. What would be your final words, real quickly? You got like 10 seconds.
Well, just be safe out on the roadway, and if something happens to you, a friend or a family member, and it was unexpected and it wasn't their fault, call me.
Give him a call. That number is 602-241-8550, and watch